people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this news out of the women's lightweight division. Commonwealth champion Dixon has been ordered to face former WBC interim champion Thanderz for what is the vacant EBU title at 135 pounds.
This is a step up.
A sizable step-up fight for young Dixon. Up until this point, you could categorize many of her fights as developmental fights and learning fights, and she could learn a lot from this fight, but make no mistake, this is no learning fight. This is a fight. Thanderz sports professional record of 16 wins with just one loss, no draws, 2 knockouts, having only ever been knocked out once in 17 professional contests, 17 professional bouts. That was at the hands of Terry Harpier.
2 or 3 years ago, Terry Harper stopped her with a body shot.
Thanderz has since rebounded off that loss. She's currently on a 3-fight winning streak. Young Hearn, one of my favorite fighters, a southpaw, an athletic one, sports a professional record of 8 wins, no losses, no draws, 1 recorded knockout. Her power, it is developing. It is coming along.
I knew it would. She looks strong.
And it's all about fine-tuning what she already has. Fine-tuning her punch picking, her shot selection.
Opposite the ring, Thanderz, though, she'll be facing a fighter that's got twice as many fights, more than twice as many fights as she does.
They want to do that right here and right now at just 8-0. Dixon has been busy. She fought 2 times in 2021, 3 times last year, 3 times in 2022.
Beat 2 unbeaten fighters in the last 2 years.
Unbeaten Majuba Uptil last year in May, and more recently, unbeaten Vicky Wilkinson.
She stopped Vicky.
Stopped her with a body shot. Can she stop Thanderz?
Or will Katharina prove to be too much, too soon for young Hearn?
That's the question. Thanderz was stopped by Terry Harpier in late 2020, and she sat out all of 2021. She has since rebounded off the loss in 2022, May
of last year.
Opposite the ring, Teresa Dvorakova, journeywoman Adina Kiss, and more recently, unbeaten Iona Vakloriou.
She's on a 3-fight winning streak right now. She has put distance between herself and that knockout loss to Terry Harper.
Katharina has fought some good fighters. Terry Harper, Danila Ramos, Rachel Ball.
She's solid. She's a good fighter.
And given that Hearn only has 8 professional bouts to Thanderz is 17, surely you can see how this is an acid test.
This is going to take some doing.
Thanderz is approximately 6 years older than young Hearn. Katharina is a very spry 34 years old, whereas Hearn is a very vibrant 28. You have to give the edge in experience to Thanderz because she's got more rounds in the bank than Hearn. She's a balanced fighter and strong.
The edge in experience has to go to Thanderz, whereas the edge in speed.
Speed has to go to Dixon. Speed and athleticism.
Hearn's movements and her punches, they're very sharp, very fast.
Fighting out of the southpaw stance, Dixon is a southpaw, whereas Katharina, she is an orthodox fighter.
It's very important in terms of the dichotomy of this match, the dynamic.
And what punches, what fighter is susceptible to. That applies both ways. That applies to Katharina just as much as it applies to young Hearn.
Young Hearn, who if they go through with this fight, she will be opposite the ring, a mid-range to inside fighter, a balanced one that doesn't just throw caution to the wind to land punches.
Dixon, she's got good punch picking, but Thanderz, she does some good punch picking of her own.
Katharina's best punches are her bent arm punches, her hooks or looping shots, mid-range to inside.
Hearn's got to be mindful of that looping right. In previous instances, in previous fights, Dixon has been caught between the punches, between her own shots with right hands.
Dixon being a southpaw, that makes her tricky, but that also makes her susceptible to straight right hands.
And looping right hands from an orthodox fighter.
She's got to tighten up that guard and tidy it up. I don't think she wants to be on the receiving end of Thanderz' looping right.
Punch for punch. I actually think Dixon is a bigger puncher, a stronger puncher than Thanderz with more snap in her punches.
But she don't want to go eating too many right hands from Thanderz.
It's very tough. and very game. I still wonder if Team Dixon want this now. Do they want to do this now? Share the ring with someone as experienced as Katharina Thanderz for the chance to win the EBU title.
Katharina Thanderz is promoted by Wasserman. She is a Wasserman Promotions fighter.
Young Rhiannon is with Matchroom, and this will be her first fight under the new deal.
She very recently re-signed to Matchroom, multi-fight pack.
This could be the next step in it, the next step in the career of young Rhiannon Dixon, who has a high ceiling, a very high ceiling.
But like I said, this is no developmental fight. This is no learning fight. This is a fight.
Katharina will give her one if they share the ring with each other. Will they, is the question. In men's heavyweight news, an interesting development in the career of former WBO champion Joseph Parker. It appears that his next series of fights may be slated to happen in the land down under, in Australia, which is much closer to his native New Zealand. It's an interesting development because just last year he inked a pact with UK-based promotional outfit Boxer over there on Sky Sports.
Been fighting in the UK for a while.
Joseph Parker is coming to the land down under with British champion Tyson Fury helping to prepare the Kiwi boxing great for the biggest heavyweight bout on Australian soil in 115 years. News Corp can reveal former world champion Parker has agreed to terms to fight for the first time in Australia and his decorated 34-bout, 11-year professional boxing career. The 31-year-old has fought some of the biggest names in heavyweight boxing, including Anthony Joshua, Joe Joyce, Derek Chisora, and Andy Ruiz, whom he beat in 2016 to clinch the WBO world title.
It is true that Joseph Parker has faced some of the best fighters in the heavyweight division the last 6 or 7 years.
Not too much missing on his resume. Carlos Takam, Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Derek Chisora 2 times, more recently Joe Joyce.
So because he very recently inked a pact with the people over there at Sky Sports and Boxer, you would have thought that he'd be based out of the UK, continue to be based out of the UK.
As it stands, Joseph Parker will arrive in Australia to headline a pay-per-view show on Fox Sports put together by No Limit Boxing, the country's #1 promoters who boast Tim Tszyu and Nikita Tszyu in their stable. There are rumors they're trying to sign unbeaten cruiserweight champion Jay Opataya.
Seems they've added Joseph Parker into the mix.
Looking to expand their area of operations and beef up their stable, Parker's Down Under debut is slated for May. That's next month.
Joseph Parker's only 31 years old. I think that escapes a lot of people.
He's a younger fighter, a much younger fighter than Deontay Wilder, who's pushing 40. He's younger than his old buddy Tyson Fury, and he's younger than the man that beat him, Anthony Joshua.
He's younger than Derek Chisora, he's younger than Joe Joyce, but he's been around the block, been there and back.
No Limit Promotions are in talks with 2 potential opponents for Joseph Parker, Brisbane's Faiga Django Opelu and New Zealand's Kiki Toa Lutili.
Did I say that right?
For the biggest heavyweight showdown in Australia since Jack Johnson fought Tommy Burns at Sydney's Rush Cutters Bay in 1908. It's a really big deal because Joe is a former WBO champion, said Dean Lonergan, Parker's former promoter who helped bankroll his historic world title defeat of Ruiz in Auckland in 2016, the biggest fight New Zealand had ever seen.
He made history with that fight.
Joe has fought in the biggest markets in the UK and America, but this will be the first time he will be seen in Australia.
Aussieland, one of the emerging markets, the promising ones, producing many good fighters. Fighters like Justice Hooney and Tim Tszyu, Nikita Tszyu,
Jay Opataya, Sky Nicholson, Ebony Bridges,
Taylor Robertson,
George Cambosos, Liam Barros, Stevie Sparks, Liam Wilson.
Australia's got talent.
They've got fighters. By the record, he is the greatest heavyweight to come out of Australasia, so he will have particular appeal in Australia to the many Kiwi fight fans down under. Parker is currently training in Ireland and has been doing conditioning work with unbeaten heavyweight Tyson Fury. He isn't just close to Fury, he's absolutely best mates with him, Lonergan said. He often stays at Tyson Fury's house in Morecambe.
It seems that Joseph Parker aims to breathe new life into his career by being a bit more domestic.
Staying closer to home. Australia is right there next to New Zealand, you know, they're neighbors.
But the news did catch me off guard. It caught me by surprise because not that long ago, Joseph Parker inked a pact with Sky Sports and Boxer, and after inking that pact with Boxer, he ends up on a Queensbury show. Opposite the ring, Joe Joyce. He loses that fight.
Rebounds off the loss with Jack Macy on a Sky Sports show, and now he's going to be based out of Australia.
He's going to be fighting there.
Not too old to turn turn things around, Joe is still only a few wins away from potentially being in the mix for a world title shot. Opelu, 15 wins with 3 losses, 2 draws, and 11 knockouts, is a former Australian heavyweight champion who produced a massive boil-over win over Hemi Ahio, 20 wins with 1 loss and 15 knockouts, on the undercard of the George Kambosos versus Devin Haney rematch last October.
If Joseph Parker can rack up 1 or 2 easy wins down there in Australia, believe it or not, there are some major fights that he could be a part of.
Big ones. The name of unbeaten up-and-comer, recent Matchroom signee, Justice Hooney comes to mind almost immediately. A fight between Joseph Parker and Justice Hooney in Australia. That could do very good business 2 to 3 fights from now. The name of unbeaten southpaw Dempsey McKean.
Another unbeaten up-and-comer, another Matchroom signee, a fight between him and Joseph in Australia, 2-3 fights from now, that could do good business as well.
One of the guys they're looking to put Joseph Parker in the ring with, Lutel, he would service as a common opponent between Joseph Parker and Justice Hooney, so surely you can see the makings of a who did it better kind of deal. Who did it better kind of conversation, Joseph Parker or Justice Hooney, if they do in fact end up making the fight with Lutel. Lonergan believes Opelu or Lutel will be no match for Parker. Both are very durable fighters, but Joe's skill set would be way too good for the both of them, he said. Django in particular would be cannon fodder because he gets hit a lot, and Joe has vastly superior skills, but Django is not scared to mix it up with anyone, and the same goes for Kiki Lutel.
For Joseph Parker, given where he is in his career, the fact that he has something like 3 losses, a loss to Anthony Joshua, another to Dillian White, and a knockout loss to Joe Joyce.
There's an area of opportunity there. Being based out of Australia at this point in his career, he's only 31 years old, so he's not too old to turn things around, and facing domestic talent on the domestic Australian boxing scene is a fertile environment. For him it is.
He can make decent money fighting local guys, rack up a couple of victories, gain some momentum.
I only wonder if he's going to keep Andy Lee on board as his trainer.
It is an interesting situation that could be a segue to big fights, very big fights, in the land down under. Parker versus Hooney, 2 fights from now, provided both guys stay in the winner's bracket. That could be a very big fight.
Parker versus Dempsey McKean. That's a fight that could be built as well. That could be a very big fight in Australia. It seems that Joseph Parker, he's taking his foot off the gas, taking a break from the world title picture, the world title scene, and opting for a more domestic one.
I have to admit, that's a smart move.
On the world stage, he'd be used as cannon fodder for unbeaten up-and-comers like Jared Anderson and Arslanbek Makhmudov, kids like Frazier Clark,
Guys who need a name.
Bakatir Dawalov, those kind of guys. If he takes his foot off the gas and stays domestic for a little while, he may be able to add value to his name, re-add value to his name, and breathe new life into his career.
He's supposed to be coming back next month. Look for that.
I do need to ask you about. I know, but I do need to ask you about Leonard Ellerbe's comments towards you yesterday.
Hold on 1 sec.
You could have just given me that. What the fuck are you doing? Eddie, what are you doing?
Just give me a minute, mate. I'm just trying to get out of Leonard Ellerbe's head. Listen, mate. I can't do it anymore. It started off to see a man crumble.
What are you doing there? Sorry. Well, I just wondered what you were doing there, but you've explained.
Yeah, no, I was just getting out of Leonard Ellerbe's head. I've been there for many years, and I can't find a way out. Listen, after seeing, obviously when Tank left Leonard Ellerbe and Mayweather Promotions and stuff like that, I felt bad. And then when I saw him pop up at the presser like a competition winner with the new beard in the background, I'm still involved. Look, they've given me $5,000 to stand here. Look. And then I saw the beard and everything. I just thought to myself, I can't do it anymore. You've broken this man. So I'm not talking about Leonard. I love Leonard Ellerbe. I love his new beard. I think he looks absolutely fantastic.
Can I just make reference to a point he made, saying that you had no pay-per-view stars?
No pay-per-view stars. I mean, I don't know if you watched Anthony Joshua fight the other week, doing massive numbers worldwide. It's probably one of the biggest draws in the sport. He's welcome to come to Guadalajara to see 60,000 people watch Canelo Alvarez against John Ryder, which we're promoting as well. I mean, the guy must live under a rock. He don't even tell me a fighter that Mayweather Promotions, Leonard Ellerbe promotes.
You can't. You can't even say that he still promotes Gervonta Davis because Gervonta hasn't re-signed to Mayweather Promotions. Not yet, though even if he did, Gervonta Davis as a fighter, as an attraction, he doesn't bring in the numbers that an Anthony Joshua brings in. He doesn't bring in the numbers that a Canelo Alvarez brings in. He doesn't make the money that they make.
You want to say that he's the face of boxing?
What is intended to be a testament to Leonard Ellerbe's efforts over the years when he was promoting Gervonta Davis. You want to say this, but how's he the face of boxing when Canelo does more numbers in America than he does?
Whatever numbers he's about to do with Ryan, that's with the help of Ryan. You don't do those numbers on your own.
Eddie Hearn, in response to all of this, asked if someone could tell him a fighter, another fighter, that perhaps Leonard Ellerbe is promoting, since he doesn't promote Richardson Hitchens anymore.
Yeah, people tend to forget that Richardson Hitchens was collecting dust on the shelf over there at Mayweather Promotions, and he left Mayweather Promotions for Matchroom.
Eddie Hearn fired back at Leonard Ellerbe, saying, look at Richardson Hitchens. They had him under contract. He starved for months and probably years, and now all of a sudden he's about to fight for a world title with the #1 promotional company in the world. That's Matchroom.
I mean, one thing is true. Richardson Hitchens now is much closer to fighting for a world title than he was when he was over there at Mayweather Promotions. At Mayweather Promotions, you barely saw the guy.
They weren't getting him any fights, any high-profile fights. They weren't even getting him fight dates. That's a big part of the reason that he left, and we talked about that here on this channel
Months ago. I'll leave the link to that video in the description box per Richardson Hitchens himself.
So when you think about that, and you think about how Leonard Ellerbe carries on,
He's trying to take shots at a guy.
I mean, think about this for a second. The Saudis are interested in putting Anthony Joshua in the ring as part of a 4-man tournament, a mashup worth $400 million.
Those are the kind of deals that Eddie Hearn brokers. Those are the kind of deals that he's a part of. He's currently staging Canelo Alvarez's big homecoming fight in front of thousands upon thousands.
Katie Taylor's big homecoming fight in front of thousands upon thousands. One is in Ireland, one is in Mexico. This is the level at which he operates.
What the fuck is Leonard Ellerbe doing? Making a coffee?
Leonard's living in the past where he was Floyd Mayweather's lackey, his flunky, his water boy, carrying spit buckets around.
Those were the days.
But Floyd is gone. Floyd is retired. He's staging exhibition matches now. Leonard doesn't seem to be a part of all of that either.
those exhibition matches that Floyd has been staging.
Seems like the primary function of Leonard Ellerbe at Mayweather Promotions was promoting Gervonta Davis's fights. And now that Gervonta's not with Mayweather Promotions anymore,
I mean, even if they did let you tag along for this fight,
what the fuck else have you got on the horizon? What other young, bright up-and-comers do you have?
the ways you think that you can wag your finger in this guy's face and talk to him about marquee draws and big attractions. He's got attractions in Ireland, attractions in the UK, attractions in the US.
Australia, Saudi, you name it, Matchroom is doing shows there.
For some reason, Leonard Ellerbe thinks he's on the level.
He's got this big ego, this big mouth, and it's very hard to conjure why that is.
He's just a subordinate.